Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott Wave update for ICP. Now, it's been about 2 weeks since I updated this, and I just wanted to go over the possibility that we are resuming our uptrend from now as a potential bottom is in. Now, as of right now on the 4-hour, we had a 5-wave move up off the low. Our third came just past the 1.618 extension of wave 1 off wave 2. Our fourth wave came between the 236 and the 382. Retracement of wave 3, and our fifth wave came to the 2.382 extension. Now, this was the one we've been tracking for a very long time, since the beginning of the year. We've came pretty close to nailing it exactly. We were looking for this to become a running flat, like so. We were looking slightly higher between our B zone at the 1.236 and 382, came up shy of that. We were expecting a higher high above the fifth and then come back and pull back and defend our W wave. Go back and check my videos if you like. We want to defend 952.3. Now, ideally, we were expecting to come to the 1-to-1 of our W wave off the X whenever that hits, which was at 992.6, but our minimum requirement was 1218 at the 618 extension. And if I switch to linear, we measure that. The 1-to-1 on linear, we literally came within like 3%. So very, very close to hitting that target and that lower side of our sideways channel you can see here. So we might have just came up shy of target. There might be too much buying pressure. Now, what these lead to are very bullish potentials when you get running flats as wave 2s. Now, in the larger time frame, this is all one larger 1, 2, and we're looking for a third wave up, which is the 1.618 extension of this entire move up off of this low. Now, I pulled those measurements, and we have to switch between log and linear, but a lot of times in crypto they work off log scale. And if that happens to hit, I'm not trying to FOMO anybody in, I'm just telling you what I've seen over and over every time we get a bull market. That is the 1.618 extension there at almost $180. So will we get that? Unsure at the moment, but we will be tracking it. And that's, a 13x potential. From current prices right now. Okay, so just wanted to show you real quick. This was last video. I had 3 different options. One was we had to come up to that B zone, then drop. Option 2 was we had a WXY rather than making a diagonal as a C wave, and we drift sideways and drop straight down from there in a similar sort of correction as this, what was labeled an A wave, which is now a W wave, as our X wave, a similar time and size of that wave. Now back to our chart, and you can see that's exactly what we got. We just had to relabel these as 3s rather than a 3, 3, 5. So I always say expect WXYs because they really do come a lot, really tough corrections. And one thing to keep in mind, we came just shy of that 1-to-1, which is completely fine. If we take our A wave off our B wave high, we just passed the 1-to-1 of this A equals C, which is perfectly fine. And I believe this is a flat where we have 5 waves down here as a ending diagonal. 3, 4, 5, like so. And if we take our extensions, I always pay attention to how a lot of assets end up panning out themselves. If we take our 1 off our 2, you can see our third came about the it's over here. There we go. The 1.618, and then we came up, got our correction, came to just about the 200 extension, our wave 1 off our 2. I like to look at previous ones as fractals. You can see this is almost ideal, exactly the same, just back to back. And again, off this last diagonal, which I just measured, you'll find a fractal of this one, where we came to the just shy of the 1.618, 382, depending where you put this third wave label. Would have been 382 here, and then you can see we also came to the 200, so pretty much a fractal of the previous one. So if we consider that complete, you can see I have a trend line there, and we're breaking out above it. So that is a good sign that this is continuation from here. And if we go down on the micro, which is what I'm interested in, you can see we have 5 waves off the low, which means we're either making an ABC to the upside, and then we'd expect to correct after the fact, right? ABC here, and then we expect to make maybe one more low down to that 1-to-1, which is a possibility, or we're breaking out right now. And this is a tiny 1-2 with a expanded flat, and we're just going to take off. You see these sometimes they go against time guidelines, sometimes when they just launch. Seen it many times, not trying to FOMO anybody, but if we take our standard guidelines, we're looking for 1.618 for our third and the 200-ish for our fifth. If we pull that, you can see we came just shy of our 1.618 and just shy of the 200. When we come just shy, I allow that. If we go on linear, we hit the 1.618 extension of wave 1 off our wave 2 to the tick and the 200 to the tick. So in my eyes, that is a completed 1-2 impulse. It fits best for guidelines. No overlap between wave 4 and 2. 2 was a deep retracement, it was an expanded flat, and 4 was a zigzag. So it was rule of alternation there. Came between the 236 and the 382. Pretty bullish. Our wave 5 looks like a diagonal, an expanded flat for our wave 2. 1, 2. So we'll see if we just continue on. If that's the fact, this should be a third wave and we should just launch or make a very, very short correction here and keep going. But there's a couple ways to play this. If you think this is a 1-2, I'm playing a couple entries on this one. I have my first entry literally right now on the breakout with my stop at this low at 12.007. I fully understand this could all be part of a fifth wave as well. And this could make a diagonal and then correct to the downside where we're still in a fifth wave. Right? But I'm also aware that this could be a third wave breakout. We just didn't reach ideal guidelines for time. The fact that we're breaking through our trend line here, we might just continue on. So you make your own decisions on this one. If this one fails out on me, I would assume this was most likely, depending on the shape that pans out, but if it pans out like a diagonal, I might have to repull the fibs and look for an entry lower, but I would just take my entry again. So very interesting spot. Clear we have a impulse, whether that's an A wave or a wave 1, yet to know, but expecting at least continuation for a bit to the upside until we can get confirmation one way or the other. But again, just wanted to show you those 5 waves off the low. And on linear, we hit the exact guidelines we should, 1.618, 200. All right, what are our alternatives? Alternatives would be, this would be an ABC. We'd be making some sort of X wave up here, and then we'd probably have to come down for a quick another 3. But you can see we're running out of time here as per our time guidelines. If we go out on the 1 hour, the 1-to-1 in time of the entire 5-wave move to the upside is coming up on March 27th, and we usually finish before that for a wave 2 between the 618 and the 1-to-1. So I think it's very likely this bottom is in. Just my point of view, very, very likely. Came in within 3% on linear scale of hitting our 1-to-1 target. So, and the fact that we're breaking that trend line and we have 5 waves up. So we'll see what happens. Unless something changes, I will make sure to update that, but everything looks good on ICP right now to resume our larger term third wave, as this is all a wave 1 and 2. All right, guys, so if something changes, I'll make sure to update that if I get stopped out. But obviously, I am in a very risky trade currently. Fully aware of that. I only risk 1% of my account per trade, but I go for position size more than anything. And like I said, if this turns into some sort of diagonal as a fifth wave, just come back, chop up, then correct. No problem. I'll probably look for an entry lower and just re-enter again. All right, guys, so that's it for ICP. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.